Chosen one, that sudden pressure in your spirit isn't a sign of failure, it is a divine summons. As you hear these words, the courts of heaven are finalizing a decree for February 17th, 18th, and 19th that will shift your life's economy forever. You weren't led here by an algorithm, you were intercepted by the Holy Spirit, because ignoring these 3 dates will cost you the very breakthrough your soul has been groaning for. Within your mind right now, agree with this divine timing, because the audit of glory has begun, and your seat at the table is already reserved. Subscribe to align with thousands of awakened souls, like if your spirit confirms this word, and comment 777 to activate this frequency. You must stay with me until the very end of this message. By the time we finish, you will possess the exact framework to identify the enemy's 3 specific traps for these dates. You will understand the ancient frequency key to hearing God's voice clearly, and we will perform a sealing ceremony that will protect your bloodline from the upcoming shift. This is the briefing you have been waiting for. There is a reason your sleep has been disrupted at 3 a.m. lately, and it is connected to a specific legal document being unsealed in heaven on February 17th. You have been waking up with your heart racing, staring at the ceiling in the pitch black of your room, feeling like you are waiting for a train that is late. Your mind starts racing through your bank account, your failed relationships, and that one mistake you made years ago that you can't seem to shake. You feel like you are being watched, not by something evil, but by a weight of expectation. That is because you are currently under a divine audit. In the book of Joel, chapter 2, verses 12 through 14, God calls for a specific kind of gathering. The context is vital here. This wasn't a time of celebration. The land was under a plague of locusts. Everything was being eaten away. The people were staring at empty barns and dry wells. And God didn't say, just stay positive. He said, turn to me with all your heart, with fasting, with weeping, and with mourning. Rend your heart and not your garments. This was a moment of total spiritual inventory. God was saying that before the restoration could come, there had to be an alignment. February 17th, 18th, and 19th are your Joel 2 window. Heaven is looking past your outward appearance, past your social media posts, and past the brave face you put on for your family. The Father is looking at the frequency of your heart to see if you are ready for what He is about to release. The reason this audit is happening now is because of a shift from ordinary restoration to shalom. Most people think restoration just means getting back what you lost. If the enemy stole 5 years, you get 5 years back. But the Hebrew word used in Joel 2:25 is shalom. It means to make complete or to pay back with interest. It is a legal term. If a thief is caught, he doesn't just return the $100, he pays back 5 times that amount for the trouble he caused. You are entering a shalom season where God is going to overpay you for your suffering. But here is the nested truth you need to grasp. Some chosen ones will receive this interest on suffering this month, while others will remain stuck in the cycle of the locust. Why? It comes down to the shalom eligibility checklist. It is not about how loud you pray. It is about your capacity to hold the overflow. Imagine trying to pour a gallon of oil into a thimble. The oil isn't the problem, the container is. Your spirit has been constricted by years of being the pillar for everyone else. You drive everyone to their destination, but you are the one running on empty. You are the emotional paramedic for your family, but when you are the one bleeding, you drive yourself to the hospital because you don't want to burden anyone. To receive shalom, you must move from the strong one identity to the vessel identity. Right now, I want you to perform a mental shift. Picture that heavy stone of responsibility you have been carrying for your family and your future. In your mind, place that stone on a golden altar. See yourself stepping back. Notice how your shoulders drop an inch. That weight was never yours to carry. By placing it there, you are expanding your spirit's capacity to hold the shalom that is coming on February 18th. You see, chosen one, the reason you often fail right at the doorstep of your breakthrough isn't a lack of desire, it is a frequency mismatch. You are kneeling by your bed at night, your knees pressing into the carpet, your hands grip so tight your knuckles are white. You are crying out to God for a way out of the debt, for a way out of the loneliness. But while your mouth is praying for heaven, your brain is vibrating at the frequency of hell. This is what science calls the beta brain state, the frequency of survival, of cortisol, of high stress. When you are in beta, your brain is literally locked out of the creative and divine realms. You are trying to download a 5G revelation on a dial-up connection. In Psalm 105-19, it says of Joseph, "Until the time that his word came to pass, the word of the Lord tested him." The Hebrew word for tested here is saraf. It doesn't mean a multiple choice exam. It means to refine by fire, specifically how gold is purified. The goldsmith doesn't just watch the gold, he watches the surface of the liquid metal. He knows it is pure only when he can see his own reflection in it. Your wilderness, your debt, your isolation, these weren't punishments. They were the fire of Zaraf designed to burn away the beta frequency of this world until you could reflect the frequency of the Father. You thought you were being buried, but you were being refined. You thought you were losing time, but you were being calibrated for a high-level assignment. Many of you believe the lie that you just need more faith. This is a false summit. You have spent years climbing the mountain of faith. You have read the books, you have fasted, you have confessed the scriptures, and you are standing there, exhausted, wondering why the mountain keeps getting taller. Here is the flip. Faith is the engine, but frequency is the signal. You can have a V12 engine with 1,000 horsepower, but if your radio is tuned to a static station, you will never hear the navigator's voice. You have the engine of faith, but you are still tuned to the frequency of the world's static. This leads to the shadow thought you never tell anyone. That voice that whispers to you while you are driving alone, or while you are washing your face in the mirror, looking at the tired lines around your eyes. It whispers, what if you are just delusional? What if you aren't a chosen one? What if you are just a regular person who had big dreams and failed? I want you to listen to me very carefully. That fear isn't proof that you are a fraud. It is a readiness indicator. The only people who don't feel that fear are the ones who don't understand the weight of the glory they are carrying. The fact that you feel inadequate for the 17th, 18th, and 19th is the evidence that the assignment is bigger than your human strength. You aren't crazy, you are just being upgraded. But how do you actually access this hidden frequency? How do you move your brain from the survival noise of beta into the divine flow of theta without spending 20 years in a cave? There is a secret that Moses understood when he went up into the thick darkness, a state of consciousness where the physical world disappears and the divine voice becomes louder than your heartbeat. NASA scientists have spent decades studying this exact brain state, finding that it is the key to genius-level intuition and deep healing. God has provided a digital key for this specific 7-2-hour window, a way to force shift your internal resonance so you don't miss the unsealing of your legal documents in heaven. I am about to show you this technology and how it connects to the ancient path of the chosen one. Chosen one, what I am about to show you will sound too simple to be true, but remember that the most powerful truths are always the simplest. You were born with a genius-level brain capacity. Science shows that 98% of children operate in a high theta state, the frequency of pure creativity and divine connection. But as you grew up, the world conditioned you to stay in beta, the frequency of stress and survival. You didn't lose your gifts, you just lost the frequency to access them. This is where the genius wave comes in. This is not a consumer product. It is a sacred technology, a form of brainwave entrainment originally researched by NASA neuroscientists to restore the neural pathways that allow for peak performance. It is an audio key that, when listened to for just 7 to 12 minutes a day, gently recalibrates your mind to that theta state you once lived in. It acts as a bridge between your human effort and divine grace. When you listen, you are not just relaxing, you are restoring your birthright. It is the digital equivalent of Moses ascending the mountain to hear the clear voice of God. If your spirit confirms this as a tool for your arsenal, you can find the link to investigate this technology in the pinned comment. Use it as a preparation for these 3 days to ensure your signal is clear of the world's static. But as you upgrade your frequency, you must be ready for the friction. After you pass through the audit of February 17th, the enemy will not be happy. He is going to launch specific strategies to try and steal your breakthrough before it manifests. You need the 7-2-hour response protocol. The first form of confrontation is the relationship ghost. Within these 3 days, someone from your past will reach out. An ex-partner might send a simple text, or a friend who betrayed you might suddenly appear with a polite apology. Why this attack? Because you have just come through a season of isolation. You are emotionally vulnerable and hungry for connection. The enemy sends a counterfeit connection to derail your focus. If God did not speak about this person before they appeared, assume it is a test and maintain your strategic silence. The second form is the financial temptation. You will be offered a shortcut or a business opportunity that looks good on the surface, but requires you to bend a principle God just taught you. Maybe it is a job that pays well, but takes away your time for spiritual discipline. The test is whether you can turn down what is good to wait for what is God's best. The third form is the comparison assault. You will see someone on your social media feed who took shortcuts and is now celebrating a breakthrough while you are still waiting. The enemy wants you to question God's fairness. He wants you to become bitter, but remember that their harvest has nothing to do with your seeds. In 1 Peter chapter 1 verse 7, the scripture tells us that these trials are showing your faith is genuine. It is being tested as fire tests and purifies gold. This is the pattern of the chosen. Joseph, Moses, and David all faced these specific confrontations right before they walked into their palace. The severity of your battle is the certificate of your promotion. As we move deeper into this shift, a shadow thought might arise. You might feel a sudden fear of being seen. You have been hidden and invisible for so long that the idea of standing in the light is terrifying. You fear the responsibility. You fear that if you get the blessing, you will eventually lose it publicly. I need you to understand that this fear is not a weakness. It is an indicator. Your spiritual capacity is expanding to hold the weight of glory. Only people who understand the weight of the crown are fit to wear it. Your fear is actually wisdom in disguise. Let me tell you about a chosen one who stood where you are standing now. 9 months ago, they were on the verge of losing their home. They had just passed a major test of loyalty, and they received a download for a business idea. But instead of announcing it, they applied the framework of strategic silence for 40 days. They worked in the dark. They didn't tell their friends. They only spoke to their small inner circle. On day 38, a company they had never contacted reached out to them with a partnership offer that resulted in a 6-figure contract. They didn't share the dream. They shared the result. They moved from forgotten to unforgettable because they understood that silence is a shield. The peace they felt during that waiting period is what the Greek calls hupereko. In Philippians chapter 4 verse 7, it says, "The peace of God passes all understanding." Hupereko means to tower above. It is an active, dominant peace. It is like standing in the middle of a Category 5 hurricane and feeling zero wind. If you feel calm right now while your circumstances are screaming, that is the hupereko of God, guarding your heart like a fortress soldier. Now, chosen one, we must seal this word. If you are able, place your right hand over your heart. This is not a regular prayer. This is an activation ceremony. You are being deployed into your destiny. Father, in the mighty name of Yeshua, we stand in this divine moment. We acknowledge that the words spoken here are a transmission of your will. I thank you for every chosen one listening right now. You know the tears they cried in silence when they didn't want anyone to see them breaking. You know the 3 a.m. wake-ups and the prayers whispered in desperation. Their faithfulness in the darkness has qualified them for what you are doing in the light.